Hello, and welcome back to the Elemental I Ching. And today we're drinking in GK48, the well in the I Ching. It's the river, the moving water, running over that secret seed of the gentle wood that's spiraling from the depths, beneath the void, beyond the void. And so I've come down here to the river by Wonderland to just soak in the incredible energy of the moving water, and reminding myself how to trust in that moving water, how to give myself back to the flow of life, how to devote and commit to each moment while letting everything drip away. As this Jinki, it moves from the shadow of inadequacy to the gift of resourcefulness, to the city of wisdom, silent wisdom. And right now, in this time of our life, there's so much turbulence. There's a lot of fear. I feel a lot of fear in my life. When I just sit and tune in to the state of the world, you notice when that starts to bubble up, that discord, and it can be overwhelming, like these, hurricanes and volcanoes and earthquakes and wildfires and also shootings and war and genocide and great imbalance and intolerance for people who all want to live and be free. All people want to live and be free. And I can definitely feel that sense of inadequacy of how can I handle that level of intensity, that overwhelming part of life? How can I even be of help? And that feeling, that emptiness, that fear that we're alone, that fear that I'm gonna die, that fear that I don't have enough, that I'm not worthy, that fear of, well, maybe the things that I think are important are minuscule in comparison to the vast suffering that the human planet and the human race is going through right now on this planet. Or the vast insecurity, that constant need to feel secure. Our planet isn't secure, right? Our homes, our jobs, our relationships. That fear of the void, of the great cosmic change that's constantly rushing through our life, that everything can be lost. Wow, how compassionate and real it is to feel that level of inadequacy. And the truth is even when life is going really well, that inadequacy, that insecurity, that fear of the void can still be there underneath. And I think that's why a lot of our culture and our world, a lot of people around the world, they medicate or they distract themselves or they try to fill that gap with knowledge or with skills or with hypotheses and conspiracies and trying desperately to understand, to get to this safety, or accumulating great wealth, working really hard to accumulate vast amounts of wealth so that you feel secure, when really life isn't secure. Life is change. That it's its one constant, is that life is change, flowing effortlessly down the river, always moving back, ebb and flow into that divine ocean of the unconscious, of our connected, unified self. And also this individualized spirit as the salmon rushes back home to its place of conception. We're all on this hero's journey to find ourselves. And when we use the external as a way to find security, we're taking refuge in something that is impermanent. We're taking refuge in something that is not actually lasting on that deep, eternal love level. Even in our tools, even in our systems, even in the Jinkies, even in the I Ching, even in all these hopes and mental constructs, if we try to grasp onto that as security, it too keeps dissolving, changing, flowing. So inadequacy is the half-heartedness that we express ourselves, that we communicate when we feel unease. That gentle wind that's bringing change to us, the awareness that something is emerging, something is moving, something is changing. The void is constantly churning. This black hole of self is constantly guiding us back inward. And so when we feel unease about something that's occurring, we can, in our shadow level, we act half-heartedly. We give a half yes or a half no. We give ourselves unconsciously into that river, and we can bash our head against the slippery rocks of half-heartedness, right? Inadequacy is kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy. I know I had a great conversation with men about, sexual inadequacy and that fear, that crippling fear that can happen of wanting to satisfy the other, right? And wanting to show up for life, wanting to satisfy the human race, wanting to live a good life and do good work and charity and service. But when it comes half-heartedly, because of an unease, because we're reacting to a fear of not being enough, we actually create a cycle of inadequacy. We show up half-heartedly, so we get half-hearted results, and then we feel inadequate again. I know this in my own life of trying to satisfy some external need, and yet not fully giving myself because I'm coming from a place of fear, or anger, and this unease of like, something's not right, let me jump to what I hope will satisfy that, but it's rushed. It's not devoted to the riverbanks, to that incredible sensual power of water to literally, intimately lick and curve every curve of the river bend. It fills the container that it is in, and yet when there is no container, it dissolves into everything. It's soft, yet profoundly powerful. Water is the absolute paradox of the power and gentleness of nature, the fullness and emptiness of nature. And we are nature. We are emptiness. I am emptiness. Let my life be filled by that waters of devotion. So when I can commit to what my intuition is bringing me, these whispers of change are coming, can I follow those clues and commit to this moment? That's resourcefulness. And I find this all the time in my one-on-one work with people, in my singing and prayer work, and rituals, in my everyday showing up to the challenges of having a house or having a family. I know now. I've seen it. The mycelium of my neural network has seen the pattern enough times that it's coded in me that I will have enough when the time arises. I will have what I need, the resource of what I need in each moment. And maybe not even a millisecond before I need it. I might be in that vast unknown of the void, but I'm committed to my intuition. I'm listening, and I know that the right resource will come forward at the right time. And I trust in that. And the more that I trust in that, the muscle gets stronger, and I can trust easier in that. And I know, when I turn on these cameras to do these experiences, I don't really know what I'm going to say. I'm calling on the well. I'm drinking into the well of wisdom and just hope and praying, hoping, begging Spirit to, if I follow this with my full commitment, I know something of great benefit, a resource will emerge. Because I am fully sourced just by being born. We are worthy by our very birthright to be filled with the light and love of this universe, of this life. We all have different wisdoms and different codes, but we all have the equal opportunity to share that genius, to be a part of that great well of wisdom that we all are. And we sake each other's thirst. Every time you tap into your well of wisdom, I am healed in some capacity. And I hope that others will come and ask that question of me when they really are looking for the answer within themselves, that they'll understand this mirror, this reciprocity that we get to give one another when we're devoted to clarity, wisdom, devotion to that clarity, to that clear wind. And wisdom won't get filled by knowledge. Wisdom is the not knowing, the trust of the void, and the knowing that exactly what is supposed to arise will. In each moment, the next note in this symphony will be played if we're listening closely enough. And that's the devotion, is to listen deeply enough, to listen to that emptiness, to listen to the emptiness of who we are, to ring the bell, and feel the reverberations of this empty space of who we are, and let life pour through this conduit, through this vessel, we'll have the right resources we need financially. The more that we trust. The prosperity is that having just enough, and not from a scarcity consciousness, but from that thriving currency, right? Money is currency. The current is flowing through. And if I'm in alignment with my dharma, with my path, then I will receive the resources of the universe, because the universe wants life, giving life, giving life, giving life, giving life. In my own Money Pei Hong tradition, I've discovered at the depth of my pain, it was in Peru, I was just sick for 3 days, just purifying, just like in this horrifyingly painful experience, physically detoxing, just years of whatever. And I found that shimmering place of compassion for all beings that are suffering. That even in this depth of who I am, someone somewhere else is suffering more than I am. Oh, and the compassion that emerges from that knowing. And someone else is stronger than I am right now, and I can call on that support too. So there's always more to receive. There's always more love to drink in. But the power, the authority, the valorous power that's hidden within, the pearl that's hidden within that well, this gentle wood that's rising up to meet us when we have the courage to dive into the waters, to claim that pearl, the depths of the well. There's always more. There's always more to give. No matter how tired I am, no matter how stressed I am, no matter how much I really just want to go back to sleep, when something happens that I need to show up to, there is always more. I've seen this with Alma and Theo and their baby, like as tired as you are at 5 a.m, there's always more to give. There's always more love to give. When it's aligned, when it's true. This isn't about bleeding out, that 18 that we worked on, like fill our cauldron. We don't need to bleed out. It's not the martyr syndrome. It's the infinite resource of compassion, of loving presence, of loving kindness. Maybe, in a day, there's only so much time, or our money, there's only so much financial, there are limitations to certain resources in this physical plane that we need to be mindful of. But the free energy, the infinite resource of love is constantly giving itself to life. So can I trust that when it's time, I will have the resource I need? I will be filled, full, resourceful. And also Wesource. Wesource is the greatest resource. We sake each other's thirst. We draw on the wisdom of each other and hold each other in times of need. We, the human family. That's the epiphany. That's the great unwinding, that it's not just up to me. I mean, literally, maybe I'll tell the story sometime. I learned about literally the ability of men and women to lactate liquid that actually offers true nourishment to one another, and a place that we can't drink ourselves. We have to sake each other's thirst. We were given this great resource, this infinite resource, to be mindful of our finite resources, to be in careful relationship with the reciprocity. And when we're in reciprocity, there is infinite. When we're out of alignment, when we try to control all the resources, when we hoard wealth, out of alignment practices, there are repercussions. So let's return to that reciprocity, to that centropic, beautiful torus of our human family and of our resources, to pool those resources together and share in a good way, and to be both sovereign yet in community, in this global community, this global village. Yeah, that's my prayer, And I started this by offering the impermanent and lower distractions, desires, contractions that we try to take refuge in, those external concepts. And in the Buddhist lineage and in my own life, it's that taking refuge in the great teacher and the great true nature that is within Buddha. Taking refuge in the teachings and in the paths, the protectors, the lineage of wisdom that continues to sharpen our sword of discernment, of clarity, as we walk through the world, the Dharma. And taking refuge in the great community, and the guides and all of us that are choosing, this great Sangha that are choosing to embrace the darkest places and discover the gift hidden inside, and to support one another on that great journey. These three great jewels of infinite, profound, loving, compassion, grace, beauty, and truth, I honor these three great jewels. And I give back any benefit of the cultivation that I do every day, the way that I pray, the way that I walk this world. May that be of great benefit to all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. As we learn to trust the changing tides and dive past the void, the fear of the void, to discover that spiraling, gentle wood, gentle wind, the wind of life encoded in the pearls of prosperity, of wisdom, that are slowly reaching up to us as we have the courage to reach down and find them within. Thank you. Many blessings.